Hi, and welcome to WordPress Project Management Insights, Episode 4. My name is Tony Zeoli, and I am a digital strategist here in Asheville, founded Digital Strategy Works, a WordPress consulting and digital strategy service, working with local, national, and regional clients on their WordPress projects for the last eight or 9 years. And then I've been working with WordPress for about 14 or 15 years overall. I speak at WordCamps, I give talks and presentations, and I consult to small businesses here through Mountain BizWorks, a local lending and learning organization in the Asheville area supporting Western North Carolina small businesses. Today, I want to talk to you about a pet peeve of mine, and that is having inline styles in your post editor of your WordPress site. And so what do I mean by that? Well, when we work on WordPress, we can publish content through pages or posts or through custom post types, and that's a little advanced. I won't explain that away, but all intent and purposes, we all know what posts and pages are. Posts are our blog posts. Pages are our utility pages for about or contact or landing pages or whatever else that we need static content for. And what I've been finding in my work is that I crack open client sites and I find that the web developer may have added code into the post editor. Now, the post editor is not necessarily for code. It is for your content, right? It's for what you want to publish, and it is not for div tags and inline styles, right? So let's look at programs and program descriptions here on this website that I've been working on for Om Sanctuary, a spiritual retreat center here in Asheville. So we can see on this page that we've got some content, and we can see that we've got a featured image, we've got a kind of sub navigation, and then we've got the page content, and we've got a right-hand sidebar. Now, in the past, well, I should say in the past and today, we should be separating out the sidebar and the post body into two templates. This sidebar should have its own template. We call it sidebar.php, and it should be called in to the program descriptions page if it's for some reason needs to be very specific and related to program descriptions. Today, we can do a lot of this matching and marrying with plugins and tools that WordPress provides. But when this developer did this old site for this organization, so for some reason, he decided to marry the sidebar with the post content. Now, how do I know that? Well, I look into the edit page view, and you can see that we're in the post editor. And you can see now that here's my sidebar. Well, that calls into question, why would you put sidebar content into the post body of your page? Well, I'm not sure the answer to that question. This developer should have done his or her research and put that sidebar into a separate sidebar.php file and called that in via the page template that he or she could have selected over here and said, okay, I want to assign this template and I want to give it its own unique sidebar, and created that whole experience. But no, they decided to add this sidebar directly into the post content, confusing the editor or the content manager, and then also potentially causing an issue if for some reason that person that was editing this page deleted any of this content in this layout that developer created. Now you can see in the text view here, there's some div tags. So he or she is actually creating a division within the page and then styling that division to align to the right of the post body content, which is just something that we just don't do. And you can see the problem that it could cause if someone were to accidentally delete this content. Now the div would be gone, the sidebar would be gone from the page, and how would you retrieve that as an editor or content manager? Well, you would have to go back to an earlier revision in WordPress if you had those post revisions turned on, or you might have to roll back your entire site, maybe deleting other people's changes, just to get back to this visual view that the developer created. The other issue here is, using a featured image right here in the post body, that developer could have used the featured image module, which I'm sure was there at the time that they developed this site, but for some reason, that developer just didn't use general WordPress conventions and created this very messy and hard to manage experience. In addition, they created this link list here, which could have been in the sidebar or in a left sidebar and outside of the post content, because if you're the content manager or the blogger or the editor of the site and you delete some of these links, they're going to be hard to get back. So it's never really good to try to do HTML within your post editor. Your post editor is really for content. It is not for, it is just not for HTML and CSS. And when I mean inline styles, one of the things that this developer did early on was create or added this plugin that created the opportunity to change the font style and the font size for this page. Now, if this is different than any other page, that's hard to manage as well. So your titles, descriptions, page content, all those should be ruled in a child theme or in the additional CSS module of a WordPress theme in the customizer. They shouldn't be managed on a page-to-page level. That's why we have HTML and CSS. CSS is supposed to say site-wide and give a consistent rule set to all our post titles, our links, our paragraphs. Everything that we have within our site should be ruled by the child theme or by the additional CSS module where those rules are set. So this developer never followed those conventions, which creates a very messy situation for future work. And it's why we are redeveloping the site today. Now, I'll give you an example of what I'm doing with another page building software called the Make Theme Framework from Theme Foundry. So Make provides that you can have a page builder template now. You see you have the default template or a page builder template. And with the page builder template, you can add a content block, a banner block, a gallery block, a panel block, or a post list block. Post list meaning a list of maybe 5 to 10 to infinity of all your blog posts on an inside page of the website instead of on the blog itself. Maybe you want to do featured posts or something like that in a homepage, and you want to set the first 3 featured posts to show on the homepage. You could use that block. So for all intent and purpose, again, to talk about how this is being used and how we're styling this page is, first we're calling it a banner, and we are saying that we want a video background. So we're using the video background tool of the Make plugin to deal with that. But then we're also using this code section saying, okay, for this specific section, I'm going to call this main-banner. And then in my CSS, in the customizer, I'm going to say, okay, for my main banner, I want my H2 colors to be this RGB color value, putting strategy first, right, is the H2. So that's how I would call into that section instead of actually going into this banner content and saying, okay, I want to edit the content and then add the text. And you can see I just have H2 here. Instead of saying, H2 style equals something, right, in there. You don't want to put that inline style in there because that is only specific to the H2 on that specific module. But if you want to style all H2 modules, then why would you be doing inline styles here? You want to add your style for all H2s to be that color blue, right, on every single page. And or whether it's an H2 on every page by just saying it's only for H2, or for example, adding that class for that banner and saying the H2 for the banner is going to be blue, and maybe the H2 for other things is going to be black, right? And the same for the services section here. You can see that I have 6 different services, and then in the code area, I have section HTML classes called services, and that then there styles the services without having to add any inline styles, and using the page builder to create these rows and columns. I don't have to have any HTML in these in the visual view, right? All that is an image pulled in and centered, text piece pulled in, typed in and centered, and then this basic excerpt content block in this column, right? So there's no HTML or CSS in each of these. This is done on the back end using the page builder, and that's what you should use. So if you are working with page builder like WP Baker's Visual Composer, Avada's Fusion, Beaver Builder, or the Make Theme Framework by Theme Foundry, you're always going to find that you can add an ID or class to any block of content that you structure on a page. And that's where we should be headed. We want to add those classes and IDs there. We want to keep inline styles out of our post edit body because we don't want to impact the editor, the content manager, the blogger by having them have to work around our rules, maybe delete content by accident, and then come back to us with a new expense and say, oh, I messed that up. And then we have to solve for that problem, right? So that is, like I said, a big pet peeve of mine. I'm working with my developers on my team to make sure that they all are aware of this and they don't take those shortcuts and they don't add those inline styles and any HTML into post content, because we should always handle that outside in the customizer, right? So let's look again at the customizer real quick, which I was showing you here. In many WordPress themes now, WordPress added the customizer, which is kind of like a child theme tool, but only it gives non-developers the ability to work with things like typography and set styles for site-wide typography or background colors or any of these things. And they've added additional CSS, which used to be something that was included in Jetpack, but now it's included in WordPress core, and anyone can use this additional CSS module to change the styles that are presented on their site right here in additional CSS, and see those changes take place in a preview mode instead of using a child theme. So in some ways, we are getting away from child themes, and we are using this additional CSS module, and we are going to try to keep all of our enhanced styles that overwrite the theme's primary styles in the WordPress customizer. So I hope that this webcast today has given you some insight into how to keep inline styles and HTML out of your post editor, to keep your site clean, to make it so that your editors and content managers and bloggers and whoever else, your wife or your child, if you have a personal family home blog, are working on your site. We don't want them impacting the page layout or any styles. We just want them to publish content. And that's what the post editor is for. So hopefully this webcast has given you some things to think about. And we invite you to watch our next webcast, which will be episode 5. And that one will talk about the 10 things you need to do in planning your WordPress site before you start to build it. So stay tuned for that webcast. Thank you for visiting with us today and watching WordPress Project Management Insights. I'm Tony Zeoli. You can follow me on Twitter at Tony Zeoli, TonyZeoli, or at DSWKS. And then we're also on Facebook /Tony Zeoli WP or Digital Strategy Works on Facebook. Thanks for visiting, and we'll see you again soon.